My name is Sebouh Yacoubian and I'm the chef and owner of Taline in Summerhill. I became a chef because I've always had an interest in cooking and changing the way people think about food. I think it's super dope that you can put different things into a pan or a pot and just make something totally different from what people are used to. It's stepping out of your norm, it's being creative, and I think that's what really gets me. Defining moment for me was my late mother's biggest support for me towards my cooking career. She unfortunately never got to taste any of my food, but she was my biggest support when it came to cooking. So I think it was cool to try to redo her food that we used to eat at home, but just on an elevated scale. So I learned a lot throughout my career growing in this industry, and then it was time for me to just do it on my own. I moved away to New York and I started the Culinary University of America. I was very classically trained in terms of French techniques, French cooking, very base technical cuisines. The way I've evolved as a chef is more doing what I want to do and not being part of the norm, if you want to call it. I still use the classical techniques every single day in our food, which is not traditionally found in Armenian cuisine, but I've always wanted to bring my cuisine to life. I want to put my culture's food on the map. A lot of cuisines, a lot of cultures have done it for themselves, and that was my biggest push, was I want to do it for my people. We try to strive for excellence at all times, and that's what I think sets us apart when it comes to that. I'll never forget my first experience on the line. It was just an absolute nightmare, and I had just 2 dishes to cook. Now we cook hundreds of dishes a day and we don't feel it whatsoever. I think cuisine is definitely an international language. Food means like coming together on a table, whether you sit with someone that you don't like or someone that you have a difference with or someone that you genuinely enjoy. I think food brings us all together on a table. I think that's the biggest thing when it comes to food. And I think Taline, yes, we're young right now, but I think we've started making somewhat of a noise when it comes to Armenian food. We're an Armenian restaurant, we're an Armenian owned business, and that's what we try to really push forward to. We want to be the first Armenian restaurant on the Michelin Guide. So that's our biggest push, is make our culture's voice be heard. Taline is the name of our late mother. Everybody loves their mom's cooking. So I really wanted to recreate that in some way, somehow. We use molecular gastronomy ingredients that mom would have never used. We try to change and alter the way food is being thought about when it comes to our cuisine, but it's also all the same flavors. Taline took a long time coming. I was very particular when it came down to everything, down to the table sizes, because I wanted to fit in a specific amount of plates per course for the guests to have an enjoyable experience. Summerhill is a very family-oriented neighborhood, and I wanted to be in a community where there is families. We also want to be a family restaurant. We want you to be able to come out here once a week, enjoy dinner with us, with your kids, with anybody. The thought process when we create a dish or anything in the restaurant is, how can we make it perfect? How can we ensure that it's not something that they've had elsewhere? We try to always push boundaries when we think of food and how we R&D a plate, because every dish is very, very meticulously thought about. And then also it's how to present it, because we also eat with our eyes first. Before you taste it, you're also smelling it, so ensure that the smell is really captivating the guest in, and then it's the flavor profile of it. So there's multiple steps that we think about prior to getting to the taste of it. And I like to always play mind games with guests, where, for example, one of our dishes, which is our dessert, has dehydrated olive oil as a garnish on top of it. And every time we tell people that, it's like something really new for them. That dish happened to be by accident, to be honest. When we're doing our opening inventory, our supplier sent us way too much olive oil. So that dish came out from that. I think 100% of our menu is experimental. So we always try to alter what you're ordering versus what you're actually having. So it's a lot of trial and error, a lot of like, why the hell do we make this? And a lot of like, wow, like we did it. Like aha moments happen a lot. I don't think there's one specific dish that I'm like the most proud of. I think everything is pretty proud worthy, but one of them being the bandrou, for example. It's a very specific dish that comes from the region of Anjar, which is where my late mother is from in Lebanon. She had left us with no recipe, no nothing for that. She used to just make it on her own. So it was a lot of trial and error to get to that dish to be perfect. We work really hard to make mom come to life. I think it's important to use what we have here in Ontario because you're gonna get the best. You use stuff that's from your local area. The taste is uncanny. I like to have the freshest product. I like to have the best product. So I'm that guy that shows up and picks through things just to make sure that I'm gonna get that specific item that I want. It's definitely weird having my two younger brothers as business partners. Not because of anything, it's just because they're my younger brothers. It's very different, it's very cool. Patience, I've learned, is a big thing, but also at the same time, we've learned to separate family and business. We have like all sorts of family that comes in and out of the building all the time. My wife's like my biggest critic. It's kind of cool having all sorts of family love around, and that's what we want, and that's what we portray here. You have to be able to separate your passion for business. Always stick true to yourself. At the end of the day, people are coming in here for you. Stay consistent, stay true to who you are, don't change yourself for nobody. And as a chef, your biggest thing is people want to see who you are. They want to see you through your food. So if you stay true to who you are and make sure that you do what you want, you'll get there.